Shaba is a green buildings and engineering consulting firm. We specialize in sustainable development, so that looks at energy, water and waste. And we make sure that we use the integrated green design system to design good buildings. The whole idea is that less is more, even in buildings. So the whole idea is to use less energy, less water, less waste, and to save money in the process. I was inspired to start Shaba when I was in grade 12. I remember looking at a map that NASA took of the Earth at night, and one will see that Africa is dark. And education is one of the greatest weapons to change the world. And so I immediately thought to myself, so how are children in Africa reading at night? How are they studying at night? And it drew me to the energy trilemma, which looks at energy equity, energy security, and energy sustainability. And that inspired me to go into engineering, into sustainability, because I wanted to see how I can best address the energy problems on the continent, water problems on the continent, waste problems on the continent, and so that more and more people can have access to resources that they would not normally have. I have always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I believe that entrepreneurs have an interesting way of finding opportunities where others see problems and finding solutions. And so from a young age, I've always been curious. I've always been interested in how do we solve this problem better. My biggest challenge in the field that I'm in is that it's incredibly male-dominated. So the challenge has been the unconscious bias that exists within the sector. As a young woman in mechanical engineering, I kind of start from the back foot, and I constantly have to prove my credibility irrespective of my experience. And so that's been the biggest challenge, is you walk in a boardroom and you're kind of starting from a negative. But what I've found to overcome that challenge is that credibility does sell. And so with that challenge did come a solution, but it's been a challenge. I would say that my biggest success is the transformation that I've seen within the sector. The field of green buildings and engineering is very new in South Africa. It's compared to the others, so engineering has been around for years, but the Green Building Council of South Africa was only formed 10 years ago. So it's incredibly new. And one of the successes that we've had is that we've been able to help with the green building movement, not only in South Africa, but across the continent. So I've traveled to Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, Malawi, Zimbabwe, and we've helped them understand what green building means to them in their context. And so for me, that's a success, to see people understand the field of green buildings and engineering. Winning the FAIRLADY Santam Rising Star Award would mean so much to me. The first 1,000 days are incredibly difficult for any business, and I remember the first 365 days of my business was a lot of business development, and we weren't getting deals. But that's mostly because a lot of the time we were breaking barriers. Eventually, we got our first project in December, and for me, winning the award recognizes that we stayed the path, not only to represent women in business, but to represent women in engineering, to represent women in Africa, to represent young women in business. And so winning the award, I think, is not only testament of my story, but also that of so many other young women in industries where they are the minority, that they can also do it.